Hey everyone, Janice wanted to jump on here real quick and share something with you, okay? Super important video. Make sure you tag anybody in here that you jive with and just be like, hey girl, just wanted to make sure you saw this. If you know anyone personally that's struggling with water or you know they had questions about water, I really want you guys to watch this video. It's super important that you watch this all the way till the very end. And once you're done watching this, I want you to put watched or I got it, water emoji, whatever, in the bottom after you've watched this from the beginning to the end, okay? So I just loved that Kristen talked about water today. It's super important, right? The good is that we are made up of 70% water. And I also wanted to share one thing is that she has a family member that's not doing so well. So if you could just lift Kristen up in prayer. She didn't ask me to fill in for her or anything, but it just so happened when she posted about water, it brought some things to mind that I want to make sure that gets said today. And so you might see her post a little bit later something that she already had planned. So this is a bonus video today. I couldn't wait until Monday to share it. The good is, yes, we need water. Okay, and I love every scripture. If you have a favorite scripture about water out of the Bible, you got to share it with me because I just love reading about the refreshing. Everything about the word water or refreshing is so powerful, right? And so we know that it's got to be powerful for us too. Whenever God created us, the earth is mostly water. I think it's 90% water. We just learned that the other day in homeschool. I can't remember. But I think it was like 90% and maybe it was 75% and we are 70%. That's what it is. So we are made out of water. We got to consume water, but not all water is good. So I labeled this good, bad, and the ugly. And I don't mean to pick on anyone, but I wouldn't even remember to say this. So thank goodness we were talking about water. And Mary posted about her gallon of water that she was drinking. And I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but a gallon of water, of distilled water, is the clearest, most purest water. They take all the toxins, all the minerals, and everything out. So it's super healthy, and you're not having to worry about any medicines that run off into the water stream. You're not having to worry about any chlorine that they've added to the water. You don't have to worry about any toxins, anything. So distilled water is the best quality water you can get, but it's super dangerous to drink by itself because all the minerals that are found in natural spring water are gone. But because of all the toxins in the air and all the pollution, even spring water could be harmful. Not that it is. I'm a water snob, and I've done a lot of research on water, and I know about pH levels and alkaline levels, and we have great water in Fort Worth. But I've been in places where Mary lives, and there's a couple other people in this group that live in San Angelo, and maybe where you live, the water is just really, really bad. So I'm glad Mary's jumping on here. So if you have really poor quality of water in your area and you know it for sure, then don't drink it. Like when I lived in San Angelo, it was disgusting. I had to go and I got a big water jug, and I would go fill it up for $1, and then that water started making me sick, so I had to spend a lot more money and get the big jugs from Costco. All right? So watch this video to the end if you're just jumping on. Make sure you go back and watch the beginning. Watch till the end. It's super important. So it's dangerous if you don't add sea salt back into distilled water. Because even though they've purified the water and it's super, super clean, there's no electrolytes in it. So natural water has natural minerals that have ran over the soil and the rocks and picked up the electrolytes from the earth. All right? And so if you want to make sure that you're getting good water, you can do distilled. I really highly suggest that, but you have to put in the sea salt back into it. So it is 1/4 of a teaspoon. So the real small ones, I always get this mixed up. I know we're grown adults here, but I still get this mixed up. It's not a tablespoon, the big spoon. It's a teaspoon, so it's a small one, and it's only 1/4 of a teaspoon. So it's a very small amount. Himalayan pink sea salt is the best because then you're going to get all the nutrients from that salt. So adding table salt or any other salt is really not as beneficial because you're still losing the nutrients that comes with the salt. Back in the day when natural spring waters would go over the soil and pick up all the minerals that we were getting in our water naturally. So when you get distilled, it's taking all of that out, but all the good, and it's taking out all the bad. So some people prefer to buy drinking water. I still don't know what's added to it, so I don't like that. I do, like I said, Fort Worth water seems fine to me. I still put pink Himalayan sea salt into mine. I wish I would have grabbed it, but you can find real fine sea salt, and if it's try to get as fine as you can find it. 1/4 a teaspoon. It's very small. So I know Mary was saying she was having a hard time finding the right amount of salt, and if it tastes too salty, it doesn't taste good. And too much salt make you feel like you're bloat, and you might even start to hold some water retention if you get too much salt. Even the good salt, too much is not good. We're also going to talk about how whenever you take all this processed foods out of your diet, you're removing a lot of salt intake, and it's all the bad salt. We're good with that. But sometimes when you take out all the processed foods that your body's used to that salt and used to using it, then if you remove it all and you don't add in the good healthy pink Himalayan sea salt to your water and onto your food, I have a grinder, Himalayan pink sea salt grinder that I put on all my food, because now it's a totally different effect. If you're using the right kind of salt and not too much of the bad salt, you could get constipated easy. So if you do feel like you're getting constipated, know that you can add. And there's an article that I read that made so much sense, and I'll make sure we find that and get that in here. But I never even thought about that. I used to think that all salt was bad, and I would go on low sodium diets a long time ago. And yes, you can feel a difference because then you don't get so much bloat and inflammation and all those things. But I never realized that your body does need salt. It just needs the right kind of salt. That's how it always is. It's like one extreme to the other, right? And no, our bodies do need that. So if you don't have good source of water where you're from, I highly suggest that you use distilled water. It's 88 cents from Walmart. And then you add your own pink Himalayan sea salt. I'm having the opposite of constipation, right? Yeah, and especially if you were adding too much salt, and you might be going through detox too. Sometimes our bodies go through these detox symptoms, and there for like, I want to say 6 days, I didn't have to run to the bathroom, but when I went, it was very loose. And then I'll go through like normal for 3 or 4 weeks, just complete perfect poop, if you will. And then sometimes I get a little bit constipated. Not constipated like I have to push, but just it doesn't seem like a normal stool. So that's when I know I'm not drinking enough water and I'm not getting enough salt in my diet. So as soon as I change those things, I usually see a difference within 3 days. You got to remember that our body reacts differently and goes through these different stages. And the detox symptoms that were really bad at first, Mary has been doing this for a really long time. We got to remember that there's a whole bunch of people in here that are coming in, and this is only their day 4. So the detox symptoms start to hit about day 5 or 6, sometimes earlier. Slight headaches. Make sure you're getting your water. Make sure you're getting those minerals that you need that help stabilize all of those things in your body. As you're removing all this stuff, it's going to freak out, and that's normal. The good, you need water. The bad, you want to remove any of the bad. If you have bad water in your place or whatever, you can always use a Brita filter type situation. I have a filter in my refrigerator, so I use that. Plus we have good city water. Then I have my pink Himalayan sea salt, and I'm okay. What I was going to say is I have a little tube this big, and I don't know how much it is because I got an extra one a long time ago, and I can't remember how much it is. But if you want to, you can go onto your Beachbody site and go to shop, and you can get the Ultimate Resets Mineralize. All it is pink Himalayan sea salt, but it is super fine, like it's powder. I go poof, poof, poof. You can see it float, and it almost instantly dissolves into my water. And so I don't fill up a gallon because I'm drinking my water out of my sink, out of my refrigerator. So whenever I drink it out of the refrigerator, I just put a couple puffs in my cup that I'm drinking out of. That's how I do it. It makes it a little easier. So the good, you need water. The bad, you got to get rid of the bad water. And the ugly is, if you are drinking distilled water by itself, it is poisonous. It is toxic, because when you drink distilled water like that in the gallons at a time, it is also washing out the natural electrolytes in your body. You are flushing everything out, and so you can't do that because you have to have those natural electrolytes in your body. And so that can be very scary and very dangerous. There are places that will say drink, and you can hear this from Darren O'Lean. That's when I first heard about it, because I never even heard about distilled water and pink Himalayan sea salt till I did the Ultimate Reset, and it was designed for detox. And they said you can continue to drink that water. It's still the best water you can possibly have, unless you want to put a big, huge, expensive filtration system, that reverse osmosis stuff. But this is another way to do that if you had to. And they were saying, and in his book he talks about that. So there's a book called The Supercharged Life by Darren O'Lean. And if you don't want to read the book because you're already reading 10 other books that I've recommended, I'm sure there is a YouTube video out there that Darren has talked about water specifically. Okay, so any questions that you have about water, please post them below. Of course, you're supposed to drink at least, I say at least, half your body weight in water. And sometimes in the winter, it's even harder to get the water intake because it's not hot, we're not parched, we're not thirsty all the time, we're not sweating, but your body still needs that. So take your weight. I'm 158, so that's about 75 ounces of water that I need. And a gallon is 120, right? So everyone's body weight's going to be different. But I have drinking almost a gallon a day, especially during the Ultimate Reset, and it wasn't hard to drink a whole gallon either. So just kind of depends, but make sure you're not getting any less than half your body weight in ounces of water. Try to drink good water, and smart water. If you're buying expensive water, I really want you to look into the bottled waters. If you're getting a water bottle that's got labels on it, you guys, you could be spending a lot of money on crap water. Smart water is not that great for you. It does not have that much electrolytes in it. My water that I make out of my filtration system, before I add my pink Himalayan sea salt to it, is more alkaline than smart water, which just blows my mind. And there's a video out there on YouTube. I highly suggest you look for it. It looks like a homeschooling group. They got all these different types of bottled waters from all over the place, and they pour it out, and then they do the little testing strips, the pH level testing strips, and it'll show you. It'll blow your mind, because you'll think that all these expensive water bottles, water that you can buy in a bottle, are healthier for you, especially if they're like $2 a bottle of water. It's ridiculous, right? And so I actually can buy the cheap knockoff brand at Trader Joe's, and it has more alkaline than my water right here out of my filtration system in my refrigerator. Sorry, I can't talk. But I hope that helps. 1/4 teaspoon to 1 gallon, Alicia. So we were just talking about if you're wanting to get a big gallon. So what I do, since I'm not using a gallon and I have the little poof little thing, it's really ground up really, really fine. I just do like 3 shakes. And then I'm drinking at least 8 cups of water a day, right? So I usually use my big Shakeology cup like most of you, and I also have a tin one that I like to use in the summer. It keeps it colder, and it's just like one of those, what is that name brand cups that are really, really expensive. I don't got that one, but it's a knockoff of that. Why can't I think of the name of those expensive ones? You know what I'm talking about. They make coolers. Yeti. It's kind of like a Yeti cup in the summer. All right, anybody else have any questions before I jump off of here? I'm going to scroll through here. If you guys are still on here, I see Alicia, Alyssa, Mary, Tara. I hope I'm saying your name right, Tara. Yeah, Edgewood water is gross, Cammie. That's when I first learned about water. We lived there, and the guys came in and tested our water, and he's like, well, what kind of water do you buy to replace it? And I said, oh, we just buy Arrowhead water. And he tested the Arrowhead water, and it was disgusting. They were almost identical in the bad stuff in there, even though it tasted better. He said that's just because they filtered it through chlorine, and so you don't taste the nasty taste, but it still had all the weird minerals and stuff. Arrowhead water is really, really gross. Danskin is another one that's nasty. It's acidic. Danskin is made by Coca-Cola, so I wouldn't. Even, of course, I wouldn't put it past them. Let's see, Eunice, I see you, girl. Cammie, any other questions about water before I jump off here? If you think of any, post them below, and I will make sure that I jump back on here a little later and look through the post again. Mary, I hope this helps you, but also I want to say thank you, Mary, because that really helped inspired me to go on here and jump on and talk about that. It is so important. It's so dangerous. And yes, there is such a thing as drinking too much water as well. If you get to that place where you just feel like you're always thirsty and your mouth is always dry, you might need to check with me and let's look at how many ounces you really are taking in, because there is such a thing as guzzling too much, too soon, too quickly, when we feel like we're behind and we just chug. I mean, you can chug, but not like guzzle. There's a difference. I hope you know the difference. That's hard to explain. But if you are super parched all the time and you are just dying of thirst and you know you're getting plenty of water in, we might need to double check how many ounces you're getting and lower it back down, because that can be dangerous too. All right. We just want to keep you healthy and safe in all areas. And I know there's so much to it, but a lot of it is just, we just don't think about it. And so now I hope that this helps you be more aware and healthy drinking. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.